Good morning. My name is Oliver Westmoreland. I'm an immigration consultant for GSN Immigration. I'm an OISC Level 3 advisor and I have about 15 years experience of immigration law and practice. I'm going to talk today about partner visas. Now, a partner visa could be a spouse visa, a civil partner visa, or an unmarried partner visa. These all have similarities. Spouse visa and civil partner visa are very, very similar and the law is exactly the same. Unmarried partner visa is a bit different because an unmarried partner has to show that they've lived for 2 years in a relationship akin to marriage with the other person. But in other ways, all these visas have the same rules. Now, there are two things that could happen, two possibilities. Someone could apply for a visa from outside the UK. Someone could apply for a visa inside the UK. A visa application from outside the UK is called an entry clearance application. A visa application from inside the UK is called a leave to remain application. They are pretty similar, although of course the processes might be a bit different. The rules are, I must tell you, very complicated, but the principles behind the rules are very simple. You must show, in any case, that the relationship is genuine. You must show that the relationship is subsisting. Now, subsisting is one of these legal words. It means existing. You must show that the relationship is genuine and existing today. There's another funny rule. It says that you must have met your partner. That sounds a bit silly, but it means what it says. You must have met face to face, not a whirlwind romance on the internet. Other requirements are financial requirements. There are different ways in which this can be satisfied. If you're applying from outside the UK, your partner in the UK must be earning enough. Now, there are different ways and methods in which that can be satisfied. And it can be that savings can be used in addition to earnings, and in some cases savings can be used entirely by themselves. And in some cases, people who are receiving certain benefits can have a reduced financial requirement. Whichever way it is, the financial requirement does have to be satisfied, and the rules about this are very strict. English language, another essential item. If you're applying for entry clearance outside the UK, you must have either, let's say, a degree from a British university, a degree taught in English from somewhere else. You may be, let's say, a citizen of a country like Australia or America, which is deemed to be a majority English-speaking country, or you may have passed an English test. For entry clearance, the English test must be A1 level from the Common European Framework of Language. Either of those will work. You don't need more than one, but you must have one of those. As well as the financial requirement, the person who is your partner must show that there will be suitable accommodation for you in the UK. It doesn't have to be grand or special. The minimum requirement is that you and your partner will have your own bedroom. This could be owned accommodation or rented accommodation. If there are children involved, then the accommodation requirements may be different, but if it's just a couple, that is the basic requirement. If you want to do a really good visa application, which I'm sure you do for obvious reasons, you might want to get a surveyor to do a property inspection report. They will come to the property probably with a large clipboard, and they will count how many rooms there are, and they will check and ascertain that there is indeed suitable accommodation as far as the sleeping goes. This is called a property inspection report, or alternatively an overcrowding report. Very importantly, don't forget, your partner in the UK must be one of these categories: a British citizen, somebody who holds a settlement. Now, this could be either indefinite leave to remain or permanent residence under European law, or a refugee, a successful asylum seeker, or a person who holds humanitarian protection. One of those four it must be. Anything else doesn't work. having got to grips with all these matters and having decided you might want to make your visa application, you might want to know how long it takes. Well, until recently, entry clearance application from outside the UK, it could perhaps take between 3 and 5 months, possibly depending on which country. As we're still suffering the effects of the coronavirus, it might take a bit longer. We can't really guarantee this, but we hope that a decision will be made in 6 months. Similarly, in country, but the immigration system in country is recovering from coronavirus as well. So hopefully you will get your decision within a few months, but we must warn you that the published times for this have been affected by coronavirus, and they still are affected, so things may not be as quick as usual. I'm sure you'd like to know how much a spouse visa costs. Well, it costs quite a lot. Hopefully you won't need to take out a bank loan, but you do need to think about it. If you're applying from outside the UK, the cost of the visa application is £1,523. The additional cost of the IHS, Immigration Health Surcharge, is £1,200. So by my maths, this will be £2,723 in total, which is quite a bit. This is why I think you want to instruct a good immigration lawyer, make sure your application doesn't get messed up. If you're applying from inside the UK, the application fee is a bit lower, £1,033, and the IHS fee is £1,000, so that makes £2,033 in total. I'm sure many people would like to know, can you work on a spouse visa? Well, the good news is yes, you can work in employment or self-employment, anything legal. Now, another question is, how long is a spouse visa valid for? It's slightly a bit complicated. If you apply for entry clearance and your application is successful, you first of all get a 30-day visa which is stuck in your passport, and this allows you to come to the UK. This is not a spouse visa, this is like a kind of a little visa that allows you to enter the UK. Once you're in the UK, you can collect your biometric residence permit from the post office. This will give you 2.5 years leave. So initially, the grant of leave is 2.5 years. If everything goes well after 2.5 years, and I emphasise this, if everything goes well, if the marriage is still genuine, subsisting and happy, and if the financial requirements are still met and accommodation is still good, you may be able to apply for an extension. If successful, the extension visa is granted for 2.5 years as well. One thing that could make matters slightly easier, when you have to satisfy the financial requirement for an extension, you can take into account your earnings and your partner's earnings as well, or both or either. So the financial requirement becomes a bit easier. We've talked mostly about entry clearance applications. It sometimes happens that somebody applies within the UK for a spouse visa. If you read textbooks on immigration law, the classic example is the Tier 4 student comes to the UK to study happily and conscientiously. They meet a British person or a settled person or a refugee, and they fall helplessly in love, and they decide to change their life plan and apply for a spouse visa in the UK. These sort of things are possible. Any visa which is granted for more than 6 months, you can apply to switch to a spouse visa. The requirements are pretty much the same, but as with the extension visa, you can use earnings from both you or your partner to meet the financial requirement. And again, you can use savings if you need to in conjunction or possibly by themselves. If you successfully get through your second grant of spouse leave, and you've done 5 years of spouse leave in total, and if everything is going well with the relationship and everything, and you're still earning money, you might then be in a position to apply for settlement. The application for settlement is similar to a spouse visa application. The financial requirements are slightly easier in some ways, but they are pretty much similar. So Let's think of someone who's applying to come to the UK from outside the UK. They get initial grant, spouse leave 2.5 years, they get an extension 2.5 years, and then they apply for settlement. Alternatively, somebody already in the UK, they apply for their first grant of leave and then they get their second grant of leave, and similarly, after 5 years of spouse leave in total, they can apply for settlement. Very important, when you apply for settlement on a spouse visa, don't be tempted to apply too soon. You must show that you really do have 5 years leave. Well, almost, but not quite. You must show that you've got 5 years leave, but there's a 28-day bit of flexibility. You can apply up to 28 days before you've completed your 5-year leave. But this rule is strict, so you must follow. Have you got any questions?